What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be reviewing all three versions of the Daron Realtoy United Airlines 747 models. This includes the original Battleship Gray livery 747, the Tulip Blue livery 747, and the United Continental Merger livery 747, which is the most recent one that was produced. So all three of these livery designs were the main liveries that were used on United's actual 747-400 aircraft. There was the fourth livery that was used, which was the original one, which was the Saul Bass livery. The older livery United had that lasted from, I believe it was the 1960s until 1993 when they introduced the Battleship Gray livery. That livery is not as well known for being used on the 747-400. I actually didn't find that out until just recently. But the Realtoy did not make a version of that model, but definitely would have been really cool. But they did make the three main versions of the liveries that were used on the 747-400 aircraft. So the first one, which is probably one of the most well-known Realtoy models, is the Battleship Gray livery. So this model is definitely a well-known Realtoy model for being one of the very first Realtoy models that were ever made. So it is mostly known that Realtoy first introduced their main form of their models in 1993, which is when they introduced the United Airlines Battleship Gray livery 747. So United Airlines introduced the Battleship Gray livery on their aircraft in 1993. The livery lasted from 1993 until 2003, which is most likely the same exact span that Daron and Realtoy had produced the Battleship Gray 747 playset in single plane for, until they later introduced the Tulip Blue livery. But so still continuing with the Battleship Gray livery, I did do a little bit of research a little while ago about the Battleship Gray livery. So the main overall design, the information behind the history behind the design was really for United Airlines to introduce a more business-like livery design for the airline, which I definitely think the livery does represent that because of the nice kind of, I guess you could say, medium level gray. It's not too dark of a color and it's not too bright. And then you have the navy blue engines and the undercarriage as well as the tail with the design on it. So definitely the Battleship Gray livery was definitely, I'd say, a very business-like design for the aircraft, and definitely did not make it look like a low-cost airline. It definitely made it look more professional. So continuing on the Realtoy version of this, Realtoy did make a pre-1993 version of this, or not really pre-1993, but more of a different form that did not have the Realtoy landing gear on it. So they did make several other models like this. They distributed them, but lots of people don't really consider those as part of the Realtoy collection, because the first one they introduced this model, which was the whole main purpose of it, was to have the Realtoy logo displayed on the main landing gear, which is what they still have today. When they introduced this model, this mold in 1993, the 747-400 mold, it is the same exact model that they actually still use today. They use the exact same mold with the exact same Realtoy logo displayed on the undercarriage. Yeah, Realtoy has not updated their logo. I don't even think ever. I don't know what their original logo, if this is their original logo. It would be cool to see an updated version of the Realtoy logo, but I'm one of the people that always like the original forms of logos better. So even though it would be cool, I definitely like the original Realtoy logo because it is a classic. So then moving on to the Tulip Blue livery. So this livery was painted on the United Airlines aircraft from 2004 until 2009. The livery pretty much had featured the brighter blue and white fuselage. Definitely was an upgrade from the Battleship Gray livery, although it did still have some of the same kind of features with the main blue undercarriage and engines. And then the United logo still on the front with the same kind of logo there, the same overall design with the blue and the red. And then they had the enlarged logo on the tail. This livery was used from 2004 until 2009. It was actually the same livery concept that was used on United's other low-cost airline that they operated, which was TED. As you can see, they have the same exact livery designs on the tail, except TED has theirs in the yellow form. So I definitely think this was cool that United had used their same livery to put on their own low-cost airline. And if you do not know, Ted is part of United, as displayed down there. United's low-cost airline, I believe they operated from around 2005 until 2009. The same exact span, or pretty much ended the same span that they used as livery from. I'm not sure what they did between 2010 and 12, because I believe they introduced the Continental Merger United Merger livery in 2012 when United merged with Continental Airlines. So I believe they may have just stopped repainting the aircraft and just kind of kept whatever they had for the remainder 2 years. And then the last livery that was used on the United 747-400s and still is used today is the United Continental Merger, used from 2012 until still used today. This is one of the most well-known versions of the United 747, definitely a very iconic sight to see for this one. As one featured in one of my more recent videos, the Northwest 747 in the bowling shoe livery, where I walked around Max, North Carolina and saw these planes. There was an original United Airlines 747-400 in this same livery design. The original registration number was actually very similar to this. The registration number on here is N175UA. The original registration number for the 747 that was at Maxton was N105UA. But yeah, definitely was cool seeing an original United Airlines 747 in person. Even though the logo was painted over, I could still see the back part of the globe on the tail, but the rest of the logos were painted over. But it was originally a United Airlines Continental Merger livery 747. So now that I have went through the main overall history behind each of the livery designs used, I will do a review of each of the 3 United Airlines 747 models. So starting off with the oldest to the newest, starting off with the classic original Battleship Gray 747 playset. So I got this model off of eBay a couple years ago. It was actually one of the first models in my collection when I had officially started, I guess, seriously collecting real toy models, and during COVID in 2020. This was one of the first models I had added to my collection, and was one of the first ones I'm glad that I did, because it is an original one to have. Definitely is a great one to have to start off as a real toy collection, since it was one of the first ones ever made. So this model was produced as both a single plane normal playset and a large airport playset. It was also produced in a different form. This is probably the most common one, but there was a newer updated one. I believe that one probably lasted from the 2000 until 2003. Is probably what it seems like, the more newer version. The model, as I know of, is still exactly the same. The only difference is the updated vehicles and the box. So, but yeah, so like I said before, this model was produced from 1993 until 2003, when it was then replaced by the Tulip livery. And was once again one of the first ever real toy models ever produced, and the first ever 747-400 produced. So, starting off with a review of the top of the box. So you have the original United Airlines logo, official United Airlines airport playset. And the whole box is in the dark blue and lighter blue kind of striped pattern there. At the top you have the official United Airlines airport playset with the logo. And then clear plastic casing with the plane and vehicles and signs displayed. Real toy logo at the bottom. And you also have this orange, red, and blue stripe that goes along the bottom part of the playset. To me, it kind of does resemble the Sol Bass livery that they had used, although I don't think they used blue in it, but the orange and the red definitely, to me, kind of looks like it kind of resembles that. And then die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts with the warning label. That's probably one of the largest warning labels I've seen displayed on one of the playsets. Usually they're just smally, either written up in the top corner, like right up here in the top right corner, or usually displayed on the back. On the side, you have the official United Airlines logo design, again there, die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. And then on the back, you have the classic United 747. I believe this to me looks like a 747-200, even though it does have the winglets to resemble the 400, but I believe the first class windows that were used on the upper deck were only used, those particular ones were only used on the Dash 100 and 200 versions. So that is just something definitely interesting. You have the same exact logo design, official United Airlines playset, the logo, die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. Realtoy logo, and then down here at the corner, which is the main part to this playset where you could tell where the date is it says C 1993, circa 1993, Realtoy International Limited, United Airlines registered trademark. That is the logo design that pretty much shows when this model was produced. So if you're looking for any model that, and trying to figure out when it was produced, if it was pre-2010, because 2010 is when they first started adding the manufacturing dates, if you are looking to figure out when the model might have been produced, always look on the back of the box and see wherever the date is. Whatever the date is right there is most likely when the model was produced. Just like I will show later on this video, the box of the Tulip United also has this circa of the date right there, which is most likely when the model was produced. So I really do like the box art design on this playset because it has definitely a very original looking design. I definitely really like the art feature. It kind of looks like it's more like a painting kind of look with the vehicles displayed there, even though the only one that is actually correct is the catering truck. And you actually do have the original price tag too on as well. Original price for this model was $15. Definitely a great price for this model back then. I mean, it probably is the same as it is now for price-wise, but I think it is cool. It still has the original price tag on the model and the tape on the sides. Back of the box also has the same design format as the front, with the striped design pattern right there with the light gray and the dark gray, but it is different since the main part of the box has the blue. But definitely is a nice transition. It also goes from the side of the box being vertical to the back of the box being horizontal. So, pretty much is all the review for the box. So, like usual, I'll pause the video quick and just take out the model to review the model and the vehicles. So here is the United Battleship Gray livery at 747-400. It did not take out the signs because they are pretty much the same kind of ones that come in most of the other playsets. So starting off with the review of the plane. So up at the front, you have the 747 cockpit windows with the first start to the orange, red, and blue stripe that goes along the entire middle section of the fuselage, pretty much where the undercarriage connects to the main upper part of the fuselage. Have the cabin windows that go displayed throughout the entire plane, and then the upper deck cabin windows with the United Airlines logo displayed right there in the center. Another interesting thing that was included on this model was definitely the interesting shape on the cabin doors. So, like usual, you have the cabin doors as more of the oval shape, but these ones are definitely more basic square. Same thing with the window design. Definitely was something cool and interesting about this model that was different. At least they did include the cabin doors and stuff, because on some other models they didn't end up including those. Most of those were on the fictional ones, but at least they still did put the effort into including those. Definitely something interesting about this model. Then on the undercarriage, you have the main dark navy blue coloring, classic for Battleship Gray livery. Entire fuselage is in the I don't really know what kind of gray to describe it as. Kind of is what I usually will think of if I think of a gray coloring. Not too dark of a gray, not too light either. Pretty much right in the middle for coloring wise. And then towards the back of the plane, there is no registration number, but you have the iconic Battleship Gray tail art design, which as you might have noticed from the box is the same exact design that is featured on the box art design, with the lighter and darker blue vertical stripe pattern that goes along from side to side, and then the United Airlines logo displayed right there. I keep thinking this is like a hair that is kind of stuck on the plane, but it is kind of like a crack in a paint that is kind of shown. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but probably the model is really old, so it probably is just a crack in the sticker. But it's been like that since I got it, so if it was gonna get any worse, it probably would have already. So I think it overall it should be fine condition wise, as long as I make sure to take care of it. Especially with these older models, you want to make sure that you take care of them, and so that way they don't get damaged, especially with how old they are, and for lots of other models that were made around the same time period as well. So, yeah, and you have the Realtoy logo displayed on the bottom, the same exact one that is still used today, and once again, no manufacturing date, although on the box it does have the circa 1993. So overall, the whole review for this model, relatively quick review for it. There's no registration number. Would have been cool, but since it is one of the first ones, I wouldn't really have expected it to be featured on it. But definitely one of my favorite Realtoy models. Moving on to the first vehicle, which is the stair truck. This one has the same kind of design features on it, apart from having the blue and gray for the main part. But you do have the United Airlines logo, same one that is used in the tail, as well as on all the other vehicles. United Airlines logo, and then the orange, red, and blue stripe pattern that goes from the top along the side, and then on the bottom part as well. And then on the bus, you just have the United Airlines logo with the same logo and black, dark blue and lighter blue stripe pattern that goes along the side, painted on. And then rather than having the orange, red, and blue stripe, you just have a red stripe that goes along from the United logo down to the back part of the bus. And then a catering truck have the same kind of pattern as on the stair truck with the United logo, the stripe pattern, and then the orange, red, and blue stripe that goes along the bottom. Overall, nicely designed on the vehicles as well, same design as on all of them. And then the United Airlines logo displayed. Again, here, this one does not have the stripe pattern on it, but does have the, I keep just calling it the Tulip logo on it, because that's best what it resembles, like on the Tulip livery. And then the United Airlines logo displayed, and then item number for the this particular vehicle was 202. So now moving on to the Tulip Blue United 747. So I had actually unboxed this model in a video a little over a year ago. I had unboxed both this model and the 777 version of the Tulip Blue livery design. Both of those planes I got new condition off of eBay, or actually, this one I did get in a trade with a good friend of mine. I had traded for 3 new condition single planes. One of them I had unboxed, which is right here. One I kept new condition, and another one I actually used in another trade. So, fortunately, the one that I had opened did happen to be, somehow ended up being one of the defective ones, which overall, design-wise, it is perfectly fine, but the defect is that it doesn't really sit flat on the landing gear. It is kind of back heavy. So this is a very rare occurrence for the Realtoy models to have. It is usually only found in the 747s. I have one other model that is like this. It was one of the first ones I got. I think I got that model like in 2012. At the time, I didn't care, but it definitely is a very annoying defect to have, because unless you like tape the nose gear, it's not going to sit. But best thing you can do is just be careful with it, and don't make sure it doesn't like slam and hit the ground, because then you're going to get scratches on it. So far, I've been able to keep this model without having any scratches on it, and hopefully I'll be able to keep it like that for a little while. So, but instead of taking out the box for this one, because the box that this one came in was kind of damaged, I will review the box for the new condition one that I have. So, starting off with the top of the box, you have the Tulip Blue United logo up in the top right corner. United Airlines logo, same logo design concept that is on the Battleship Gray. United Airlines, die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. Same design there with 747 airplane. Same exact box design is on the 777 as well, except it says 777 airplane. Realtoy logo displayed on the bottom. This one has Realtoy wings, which was another, I'm not sure what the Realtoy wings was, but they did include that logo on some other models. Die-cast metal, new livery designs, and plastic parts. Inside the cardboard piece did also have the United Airlines logo on it as well, where the plane would sit in the box. The size, you have kind of the color fade between, you have the main white part, and then a lighter blue, a little bit darker, and then to the main part of the blue with the United Airlines logo displayed there. On the back, you have official United Airlines 747 airplane. with, instead of box art image, is an actual picture of the Tulip Blue United 747-400 die-cast metal newer designs and plastic parts again. Then you have, I'm not sure what exactly this is, if this was one of the distributors, Peterkin, is that what, that's what that is? Yeah, so it might have been another distributor for it, as well as Realtoy. Might have been also why it has Realtoy wings, I didn't really notice that. But, so adding on to what I said in that was on the Battleship Gray 747 playset with the circa 1993, this one is another great example of that with circa 2006 pre-manufacturing date model. But always make sure to look for this on the back of the box. Not many of them will have it, only several boxes do have this that are pre-2010, before manufacturing dates, but always be sure to look because you never know which boxes may have this date written on it. So yeah, overall, really great design for the box. This is one of my favorite box art designs, and it was a very similar design that was used on the TED A320 box as well. So, moving on to the model. So, this model was also produced, I forgot to mention, this model was produced as single plane, normal playset, large airport playset, and actually slightly larger airport playset with two 747s. There was one large airport playset with one 747 model, and then there was another one with two. And I do have another version of this, another extra model that I got that does have the manufacturing date from 2010. So some of these models, the newer ones, will have a manufacturing date, but like this one from 2006 will not, because manufacturing dates were put on after 2010. So up at the front of the plane, you have where the blue starts on the middle part of the fuselage, blue that connects throughout the entire fuselage. You have the really nice fade, which is a really great part of this livery I like, from the white to the really light blue, a little bit darker, and kind of reminds me of like an aqua kind of blue, and then to the main part of the blue undercarriage. The original United Airlines logo with the SkyTeam logo displayed right there, United, and then all of the windows displayed on there as well. Kind of adding on to that, definitely is, at least Realtoy did fix the cabin windows, the cabin doors, I mean, and the windows as well, because the windows are more realistic on this model and all the other models that were produced. But this was one of their first ones, so honestly, what else would you expect for one of the original models? It definitely is a really cool, interesting design that isn't used on many other models. So, back of the plane you have, I believe this is a road registration number, N196UA with the American flag, and then the last remaining cabin doors. And then you have the Tulip United Airlines logo on the tail. Does have the original United logo concept, but is more enlarged, and also has a little bit kind of different design right in there. I think it is a slightly of a different design. But on the wingtips, you also do have the United tail logo with kind of a fade pattern going on the top, and then it kind of transitions into the main blue coloring on the bottom. And then on the bottom part, you have, on the main landing gear, you have the Realtoy logo to finish off the plane. So now moving on to the last model that was produced, which was the Continental Merger livery. This model was produced for, I believe this was produced for one of the longest periods of time. The Tulip Blue was definitely the shortest period of time that was produced. Probably, the 747 was officially discontinued. I believe it was discontinued in 2019. Same thing with the 777. So even though these models you were able to purchase it afterwards, and yes, I completely forgot to mention that this is a 777. I do not have the original box to it, even though I did get this at Hobbytown. I clearly remember ripping open the box, which I deeply regret now, but that was before I started seriously collecting Realtoy models, so couldn't really expect anything else out of that. But so yeah, the box art design is pretty much exactly the same as a 777, which is why I'm just going to review this one instead. I believe it is exactly the same. So, yeah. So, the review for this box isn't exactly the same, but the overall concept of it is pretty much the same design pattern. Die-cast metal, newer designs, and plastic parts, with the gold United stripe there, United Airlines logo with the globe logo design, updated logo. This was the logo that they completely updated the original United logo. I kind of think, in a way, I really wish United kept their original logo, because it was a classic that was used for so many years. And then when they merged with Continental, I mean, To me, I kind of think they could have just done what other airlines did and kind of have some planes have it, but have their main livery still with the original United Airlines logo on it. But that's just my opinion. New Daron logo down at the bottom, and on the side, die-cast metal, Nova designs and plastic parts. And on the back, I'm not sure what the box art on the back was for the 747. I'll have to look that up. But for this one, the 777 at least had the United logo on it. The same display as their box art image. This one actually did have the customer information on it for the please keep packaging for future reference. If you see that, always make sure to follow those rules. Honestly, for really any model, always make sure to keep the box for it, because the box is a major part to the model. Daron logo, Boeing official licensed product, and actually the original price tag when I bought it. This was one of the last. This was the last United Airlines 777 I actually had seen. I got it in Hobbytown I believe I got it in 2022. This model was this was produced in 2019, but was the last one I ever seen sold in store when I got it in 2022. Definitely, I'm really glad that I got that model. But anyway, this model is supposed to be about the 747. So moving on from the 777 to the 747. So this is the only one that I currently have. The only version of the only Continental Merger livery I have of this model. As of right now, I do not have the original box to it, like I stated before. It does have some slight damage to it, but was the first one I originally got. I got this one, same exact place where I got the 777 at Hobbytown, USA in Hickory, North Carolina. So, starting off front of the plane, you got the 747 cockpit windows, and then the classic United gold stripe. It is kind of thin, but you still can't see it. Definitely can see it a lot better at the nose of the plane. It has the gold stripe that goes along the entire middle section of fuselage. Still try to kind of keep that same concept with the stripe pattern that goes along the middle section of each of the livery designs on each of the 747 models. Then SkyTeam logo, United logo, and then on undercarriage, instead of having the blue, you have the lighter, more basic gray coloring on the undercarriage and on the engines. And then towards the rear of the plane, you have the real registration number for N175UA with the American flag displayed above that. All the cabin windows and cabin doors displayed. And then the Continental logo with the globe logo design that United then used for the livery, displayed on the tail in the reflective kind of metallic gold and silver coloring with the blue background on the tail. Manufacturing date is also on this model. This was a 2018 model, March 16th, 2018. And then you have the Realtoy logo displayed on the main landing gear with the model stand. So, pretty much is all of the review for this model. So, this is the newest version that was produced, was discontinued. I believe it was 2019 when this model was discontinued. But, and this model was sold out in stores definitely a lot sooner than the 777 was. But I believe you can still find the 777 in some places, but overall it still is a discontinued model. But so yeah, pretty much is all for today's review video. So thank you all so much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts are on these models down in the comment section below. Trying to get the rest of these set up here, at least get some sort of display of them here. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.